Are you dreaming of sweet, juicy strawberries fresh from your own garden? Imagine picking sun-kissed berries right at your doorstep. It's easier than you think. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to transform you into a totally confident strawberry grower. Okay, let's dive into this. So, how do you actually guarantee a bountiful harvest? Well, it all comes down to a foolproof, step-by-step approach. You know, growing strawberries really doesn't have to be some big mystery. By breaking down the agronomic science into clear, totally actionable steps, literally anyone can turn a plain patch of dirt into a thriving, highly productive berry patch.
Here's our roadmap for today. We've broken this whole process down into 5 super manageable phases: preparation and planning, the planting process, care and maintenance, harvesting, and finally, a quick troubleshooting guide. Let's start with phase 1, preparation and planning, because believe it or not, a massive harvest is actually determined way before a plant ever touches the ground.
First things first, you've got to nail the environment. Strawberries absolutely crave sunshine. We're talking at least 8 hours of direct sunlight a day to pump up those natural sugars we all love. They also prefer sandy loam or clay loam soil that drains really well, ideally with a weekly acidic pH right around 5.5 to 6.5. But hey, here is a critical warning for you. Be super careful about what grew in that exact spot previously. While planting after things like garlic, dill, or legumes is fantastic, you literally must avoid planting where tomatoes, potatoes, or old strawberries were recently growing. Why? Well, doing so basically rolls out the red carpet for the deadly verticillium wilt fungus, and trust me, that can wipe out your entire crop in no time.
All right, once you've picked that perfect spot, let's prep the ground. Strawberries actually have really shallow roots, usually just hanging out in the top 10 to 30 centimeters of soil. Because of that, they desperately need a well-aerated, nutrient-rich bed to thrive in. So, step 1, clear out all the weeds and debris from past crops. Next, aerate that soil about 15 to 20 centimeters deep to get some good oxygen flowing and ensure proper drainage. Then, go ahead and fold in a generous helping of organic compost or fertilizer. Finally, check your soil's pH. If it's a bit too alkaline, just mix in a little sulfur or peat to bring it right back down into that 5.5 to 6.5 sweet spot.
Moving right along to phase 2, the planting process. Now, whether you decide to plant fresh runners in late summer or use cold-stored frigo plants in early spring, the physical technique remains exactly the same.
Before you even put that plant in the ground, grab a sharp pair of shears and trim any excessively long roots back to about 10 centimeters. This is absolutely crucial. If the roots are too long, they'll end up bending upwards in the hole, which literally suffocates the plant and blocks its nutrient flow. So dig a hole deep enough for those trimmed roots to sit perfectly straight. You can toss in a teaspoon of autumn fertilizer or wood ash right at the bottom for a boost. Then, position the plant vertically, press the soil down nice and firm around it to push out any hidden air pockets, and immediately give it about half a liter to a full liter of water right at the base to help it settle.
Now, lean in and pay close attention here, because this is honestly the single most critical technical step in the whole shebang. Positioning the crown, that thick central heart of the plant where the leaves sprout from, has to be perfectly done. If you plant it too deep and accidentally cover that crown with dirt, it's going to rot and the plant will just die, period. On the flip side, if you plant it too shallow, the roots are going to dry out. The just right sweet spot is having that central crown exactly level with the surrounding surface of the soil.
Now, what's really interesting here is just how flexible your spacing can be. It totally adapts to whatever setup you've got. If you're a professional farmer using mechanical cultivators, going with a wide single-row scheme makes total sense. But say you're working with a small backyard raised bed, a staggered, checkerboard kind of scheme is perfect. It keeps the plants about 20 to 25 centimeters apart, letting you maximize your limited space while still giving every single plant plenty of room to breathe and grow.
All right, the plants are safely in. Welcome to phase 3, care and maintenance. This is where the real relationship with your garden begins.
One of the absolute best things you can do for your strawberries on an ongoing basis is mulch them. Honestly, keeping those delicate little berries from touching the damp, bare earth is totally non-negotiable if you want a healthy crop. You've got a few solid options here. Organic straw is the classic choice. It reflects the sun and keeps the fruit super clean, though it can blow around on a windy day. Then there's black polyfoil. The pros love this stuff because it completely blocks weeds, warms up the soil early in the season, and saves a ton of water, but it does require running drip tape underneath it. And finally, agrotextile. It's breathable, lets the rain soak right in, and offers great protection from early frosts.
Beyond the mulch, your day-to-day tasks are actually pretty straightforward. Strawberries are thirsty little guys. They need about 25 to 30 millimeters of water every single week. Try your best to use drip irrigation, or at least water right at the base early in the morning. That gives the leaves plenty of time to dry out in the sun, which is a massive help in preventing fungal diseases. And here's a pro tip for you. Systematically cut away those long running shoots, also known as suckers, that the plant inevitably sends out. Snapping those off forces the mother plant to focus all her energy into making big, sweet berries, instead of wasting it on growing completely new vines.
And now for the best part. Phase 4, harvesting and post-harvest. The sweet reward for all your hard work.
You can expect to start harvesting those beauties about 4 to 6 weeks after the plants bloom. But hold your horses, the visual cue for ripeness is super simple but strict. Wait until the berry is fully, brightly red all over. No white shoulders. When it's ready, gently harvest it by hand, just pinching the stem right above the fruit. You definitely want to avoid yanking on the berry itself. Doing that can bruise the delicate fruit or even damage the crown of the mother plant, and we certainly don't want that.
Phase 5, the troubleshooting guide. Because, let's face it, nature is completely unpredictable.
Sometimes things go sideways despite our absolute best efforts. Every garden faces threats, and strawberries definitely have their specific enemies. You might bump into powdery mildew, sap-sucking spider mites, or those constantly hungry slugs and snails, and of course the dreaded verticillum wilt. But by far the most frequent fungal villain no battle, especially when the weather gets wet, is gray mold, officially known as Botrytis cinerea.
So, the crucial point is how we actually manage these threats without panicking. To defeat that fuzzy gray mold, you really don't need to reach for heavy chemicals. It's all about your cultural practices. By giving your plants proper spacing for excellent airflow, watering strictly at the base to keep the leaves dry, and using a nice thick layer of mulch to separate the fruit from the damp dirt, you naturally eliminate the exact conditions this fungus needs to survive.
Now what if slugs are sneaking in and munching your sweet fruit in the middle of the night? Try these highly actionable, totally organic tips. First, applying a rough, scratchy straw mulch makes it super uncomfortable for them to slither across. You can also bury small, shallow cups of beer right in the soil. Slugs are incredibly attracted to the yeast. They'll fall right in and, well, basically drink themselves to sleep. Or for a really cool high-tech organic solution, border your raised bed with copper wire. The copper actually reacts with their slime and gives them a tiny, harmless electric shock that turns them right around.
And then there's the hard truth about verticillum wilt. If your plants contract this soil-borne pathogen, they will just suddenly wilt and die. No way around it. There is no cure. You just have to uproot the plants and start all over again on a completely new spot. This perfectly loops back to exactly why crop rotation and picking the right initial planting site and strictly avoiding spots where tomatoes or potatoes recently grew was absolutely critical back in step 1.
Before we wrap up, just a quick friendly reminder. This explainer provides general guidance, and results may vary based on individual conditions. Always consult local guidelines and experts for advice tailored to your specific location and situation.
So, after all that, are you ready to plant your first strawberry patch? I really hope breaking it down this way has completely demystified the whole process for you. Growing strawberries is just an incredibly rewarding experience, literally bringing the taste of summer right to your fingertips. Are you feeling empowered and ready to get your hands dirty? Grab that trowel, find a sunny spot, and start growing your very own sweet, sun-kissed berries today.